Welcome to Sunbird Country Music. My name is Sophie. I do all the interviews here, and today I'm talking to Savanah Solomon, who is an artist from Western Australia who last year released the single Magnolias, which I loved, and I had a great chat to her last year. Now she has a new single, Someday, Somewhere, and I'm looking forward to talking to her again, and I hope you enjoy meeting her too. Savanah Solomon is a singer-songwriter from Western Australia who last year released the singles Magnolia and I Don't Know You Anymore. Her latest single is Someday, Somewhere, and yet again, it's a thoughtful, lovely, memorable song, and I'm looking forward to talking to her about it. Hello, Savannah.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be chatting to you once again.
Since we last spoke, you have had some stellar support slots, including for Kingswood, which they're one of my favourite live acts. So I imagine that was a
Mm,
great show to be at as well as play at. So I'm interested in how that one came about.
interesting. Yes.
You don't
It
have to say if you don't want to.
no. It's one of those things where if you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say. I
Yeah.
had met them previously at a gig, and yeah, I just thought it was funny they announced their tour, and I realized a couple of dates lined up with mine because I supported them in Albany, and I had a show in Melbourne, pretty much a couple of days off when they were playing in Melbourne. So I just reached out. So I guess for any artists that are listening, it's one of those things like you got to believe in yourself, and you do have to ask. Simple as that.
I'm a big fan of saying if you don't ask, you don't get, because I find a lot of people defeat themselves before they've even tried. And it's like, you don't know. It could be the
Mm.
worst that can happen is a no, basically.
Yeah, totally. So I feel like it's something I've definitely applied in the last couple of years of my music career, and I'm still doing that. I'm still sending out old emails when I see a really big artist touring around Australia. I'm just like, you never know your chances. I'm just like, hello, I'm here.
Yeah, you do never know. And yes, if you don't throw the hat in the ring, someone's not going to be able to pick it up. But you mentioned you played in Melbourne because I didn't realize that. So did you do a few dates outside of WA or was it just a brief foray?
It was just a really brief one. I actually got into a festival in Melbourne. It's a small kind of community festival, folk community festival called Newport Folk Festival.
Okay.
And yeah, just kind of I applied for it, was winging it. I saw the application, I saw it advertised somewhere, and was kind of hoping for the best. But also, I'd never been to the festival before, so I was like, I have no idea what to expect. It was quite, small, but I loved it. It was like the fact that it was small was beautiful. It was so wholesome and community based, which
Mhm.
kind of meant a lot. Like it's the first time I'd sold like I think I sold like 15 CDs or something straight after my show, which was really cool. And everyone was just so lovely and nice. So, yeah, it was a great experience. I'm really excited to say I'm heading back to play that festival again, Newport Folk Festival in June, which is really exciting. So, hopefully, getting a few shows outside of the state, which is really cool.
So I'm guessing the CD you had with you was the EP from 2023.
Yeah, where the river meets the sea. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I've only got like 15 left. I'm like, I need to buy some more.
And you also just played Nannup, music festival
Yeah.
in WA, and I
Mhm.
saw on your Instagram it looked like your cousin was taking photos of you.
Yeah, she did. She came with me. It was quite an adventure actually getting to the festival. I ran out of fuel, which was
Oh.
very silly on my behalf. So she's got a couple of snaps of me with the sign saying, "Anyone have some fuel, please?"
Did it work? Did someone come with
Oh, it
something?
was actually really lovely. I had a couple of community police officers, police liaison officers, and they came and got me a jerry can of fuel, which was so nice. It kind of gave me faith in humanity again. So I feel like it was good songwriting material in the end, anyway. But overall, it was a beaut festival, very wholesome. I did 4 shows in 2 days, so it was a very busy festival. But I felt like I made lots of connections, and yeah, it just filled my cup in the end. It was beautiful.
Well, you mentioned good songwriting material, so now I'm intrigued at what the resulting song may be from you.
It's still in progress, okay?
So where were you driving from? Because I actually don't have a
um,
sense of where Nannup is. Because I
yeah,
could
so
have looked on a map,
Melbourne
but I
is
didn't.
kind of the southwest of Western Australia. I live, I guess you could say, I think this is just from the top of my head, it's about 3 or 4 hours south of Perth, and
Mhm.
I live an hour north of Perth.
Right.
So the fuel debacle that happened in Busselton, which was about an hour out of Nannup. So I was like, well, yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was in a busy place. I knew I was going to get few in the end. I was very patient.
Sometimes I forget that there is anything 3 to 4 hours south of Perth because my imagination, I have been to Perth, in fact, quite recently, but
Mm.
that sense of Perth seems to be down the bottom of the coast, but there is a lot more coast to go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, right now I'm in Albany, and I just spent the week prior in Esperance. I did a couple of shows there, and that's even, I guess, further south and east Esperance. And yeah, it's beautiful. It is. There's so many more places to see, and it is very expanding. WA, I guess.
And now you also have some shows coming up, and I noticed that one of them is a band show in Frio. So I'm interested in who is in
Mm.
your band.
Yeah, I've got a wonderful bunch of guys that play with me. We've got Jack Hill on drums, um, Joseph Gretsch on lead guitar, and then Josh Dyson, who plays bass for me. And he is also my producer and sound engineer. So he has Villa Studios, and that's where I record a lot of my music, which is great. So yeah, I think it's just a beautiful thing. Like, he is so talented. He can play multiple instruments. So you'll find when you listen to a lot of my songs as well, it's him playing half the stuff on the tracks. But yeah, it's great. I have a great band. I don't do enough gigs with them really, and I'd like to do a lot more, to be honest with you. So yeah, and it's always nice. I feel like, to have energy with people on stage. It just makes it so much more fun.
I guess also it's about where the venues are that can have a band because a lot of live music venues, there's not the space necessarily on the stage, even like it's a practical
Mm,
consideration which venues have enough space for a band, but also for you having time to rehearse because you are a fly in, fly out worker. And so you have these stints where you're not home and you're working, and then you have stints where you are home. But I guess in the stints when you are home, you'd need to rehearse and do the gigs and do anything else you need to do.
yeah, it's funny. I found I've had to be a lot more organized like this last year starting this job. It was funny even when Nanut Music Festival came around. Like, I flew in on the Thursday, no, on the Wednesday, had Thursday to rehearse, and then I drove on the Friday. So the actual week prior to my week at work before Nanut, I was doing all the organizing. I was prepping everything. So it's definitely like some people might be organized a week in advance. I feel like I have to organize myself at least 3 weeks in advance. I have to really think ahead. So I'm glad I'm a very, very much organized person.
Do you have like a color coded calendar on your wall or something like that?
I I have like a 365-day calendar thing, and I dot every gig and every time I'm away, like every holiday, yeah. It's the only way to keep up with it, honestly. Like, especially, interviews and single releases. It's a lot to, yeah, it's a lot to remember.
I think it's also the rhythm of the way you work. It's you've got to factor that in. And I'm a big believer in the rhythms of daily life and how they can affect creative life in particular, like the rhythm of running a
Mm.
household. Some people say might think, oh, having children takes up a lot of time for someone who's creative, but I actually more think it's the rhythm of the household changing with a child in it that makes it difficult for women in particular to be creative. For you, it's that like that rhythm of working away, and no
Mm.
doubt you have some time where you could write, for example, but it's not time that you can spend performing. It's not time you can spend rehearsing. You have to focus on that job, and then the rhythm's different when you come back. So you're
Yeah.
changing that a lot.
And I have to say, like, it does get a bit hard sometimes, but I also have to say I'm very blessed with this job. It has given me more opportunities with my music, financially, and it's given me actually more time. If you compare it to like a typical Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, like, I'm actually able to go to regional areas of West Australia, and do tours and do those things, which necessarily beforehand may have been a bit harder. So yeah, very blessed. And I feel like one of the blessings in disguise with this job is that it's made me value my time a lot more,
Right.
which is
Interesting.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's like, you know, whether it's like creating, or spending time, delegating is a huge one for me now. I like to delegate jobs to other people. I think that's an important thing as an artist, so I can spend time creating and honing in on my craft, which is really important. And yeah, just spending time doing the things you love, whether that's hanging out with, your beautiful friends and family. I feel like all that stuff inspires my music, and life's too short not to.
Yeah. And I wonder if sometimes when artists are independent, they feel like they have to do everything. So they feel like delegating is cheating in inverted commas because like, no, no, I'm independent. I have to, suffer for my art kind of thing. But yeah, exactly what you said, it frees up time for you to be creative.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I've been really blessed working with Jules Wildheart Publicity. She
Mhm.
worked with me on Magnolias and this song. And that's the first time I've kind of delegated that role. And I feel like it's been the relief for me has been amazing. Yeah, as artists, we put so much pressure on ourselves, especially like you said, independent artists to do it all. And I don't think necessarily that's the case. And, I can understand why artists do end up running on burnout.
Mhm.
I've done it plenty of times before. So yeah, that's I guess another bit of advice to all the artists if you're listening. Yeah, definitely delegate. It's well worth it.
Now, on to the new single, Someday Somewhere.
Mm.
This is a very hopeful song, but it sounds like it may not have come from a hopeful start.
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote this song a couple of years ago. It's quite funny. I was waiting for this FIFO job to start. I found out I got the job in, I think it was February, and they were like, "You're not going to start till late May." I didn't have any money in my bank, broke, and I was still at home, and I was just like, just unmotivated and in limbo. I was waiting for my life to start. I was waiting for this job to start, and I was just, I guess, yeah, in a bit of in a lull, like in a bit of you know, a mood. Like I was like, what am I doing in my life? And yeah, I just turned to the pen and paper and wrote this song, and it was just like a song for myself to just keep being me, to keep working hard, to keep focusing on doing all these good things in the world, and that good things will come with that. I feel like yeah, it is a very hopeful, enlightening song, and hopefully it gives people drive to just keep doing what they're doing. And I feel like it's a lot of the stuff I wrote in there is, incredibly personal, but it touches on so many things that I think people can relate to. Like your sensitivity is a strength, and humor will help you get by. Like, someone that struggled with being sensitive and stuff like that. It's yeah. Hopefully, it is what people can resonate to.
Absolutely. There are lots of great lines in there. But I'm also thinking that you kind of wrote your own mantra, really. It's just for when you need it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing for myself as an artist. I'm sure I probably addressed this before, but I write songs first and foremost for myself.
Mhm.
It's my way to kind of comprehend what's happening around me in this world and to get through hard times. And I feel like as an artist, once you do that, that's when oh my God, I've got an alarm going off. It's telling me that I have an interview.
Correct.
Yes, correct. It's a good thing. I'm glad my alarm works. Um, but yeah, it's just a reminder for me, and yeah, hopefully it's something that people can, like I said, relate to for sure.
There was one line that really stood out to me. There are a lot of great lines in it, but this one, worry is a waste of the imagination. And I love the elegant simplicity of that. And I was thinking, that's because trying to be a reformed worrywart. And a lot of people are worrywarts, right? And I was going, I've never
Mm,
actually heard it phrased like that. But it's so true. And then I was thinking, well, how did Savannah arrive at that exact idea, I guess, that combination of words in that phrase?
it's funny. I'm trying to think of what the line was beforehand. I think it was hard work and luck is a linear equation. And then
Hmm.
I must have started writing worry. And then what I do is I always go, what rhymes with equation? And then it comes up. I'm like, oh, okay, there you go. Now I can add that there and add that there. But yeah, mine's pretty simple. I just try and, I probably spent a lot of time trying to moving these lines around to kind of make it all work, to kind of fit in. But yeah, all about rhyming. It's funny how different songwriters create their work, and a lot of people don't rhyme, but I'm very big on the rhyming.
I love a rhyme because I think we humans do respond to it. Now maybe it's because there's
Mm,
rhyme in children's books and we learn it young and then we think,
yes,
oh yeah, well that works. But I also think it's just sounds nice on the ear to have a rhyme.
yes, true, true. It definitely makes yeah, more catchy for sure.
But that particular line, I was thinking, okay, the next time I catch myself worrying, I'm going to use that line. So there we
Yeah,
go.
and it's funny, like now that you're saying all these things, I'm like, geez, I'm such a hypocrite. I wrote all this stuff and I'm still the worry wart. But I feel like like you said, it's a mantra. It doesn't mean that, these things are always you're going to do all of them all the time. But I guess it's a reminder to continue to have fun, to be yourself, to chase after your dreams, to not have to explain to anyone why you're chasing after your dreams, just to
Hmm.
keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I also think it's what it implies is the energy of worry and the energy of imagination. It's like you can divert your energy to something useful, or you can divert it to something that's
Mm,
essentially a dead end. And I do think for anyone engaged in creative work, that's a constant consideration. It's like, well, I could spend the energy on creating, or I could spend it on something less useful.
yes, yes, totally agree. As an artist, I feel like creating and writing has got me through some hard times. So yeah, definitely agree with that one.
And you were talking then about how you move lines around often to make them work, and so that sounds like you are quite an editor of your own work. You're not a songwriter who says, "Oh, well, that's just coming out in a flow, and I'm not going to touch it." It's actually, well, some of it's come out in the flow, and then I want to try to make this work. And I do think that's because you love language. It's because you're
Mm,
trying to find the best language to use.
definitely, definitely. I think it's important to edit your own work and to see how you can change things and, make it, sometimes I find, like, especially with the words in this song, everyone can connect to it. I feel like sometimes you can use words that are too kind of smart and knowledgeable that,
Mm.
when things are said real basically,
Mhm.
that's, it has just the truth. You can't say it any other way, you know what I mean? And I think that's a really beautiful way. But I also find it really beautiful when songwriters can use these really I don't know, fancy, smart words, and you can misinterpret it. You can interpret it so many different ways. There's so many ways you can use language, and it's so powerful. Words have power.
Absolutely. Some might say
Mm.
words are spells in some aspects.
Mm. I was
But
talking to someone about this recently. There you go.
about words being spells.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's possibly a digression from what we're talking about, but I do think with singer-songwriters, it's really a valid concept to consider because my next question was going to be about your voice. And I think when you have a powerful singing voice and you have that command of language, the reason why humans respond so forcefully, I think, to music is because it's a form of magic.
Mm,
And so there's the lyric, yes, but then there's also the way it's delivered. So for you as a singer, I would think it's also a consideration of how you're going to work with that language, how are you going to express it, because you have this beautiful tone in your voice. And I'm
cute.
curious as to whether you've always had it or whether you've actually developed it as you've been learning to deliver these lines.
Wow, I that's a interesting question. I feel like I'm sure it has developed. I think it's hard to look at my own work myself and to see how it has developed in a way. But I definitely think with this song, I feel like it's a lot different to my other work. There are a lot of words. It's a lot more punchier and I guess poppier to an extent, which, I'm okay with saying. I know a lot of my stuff isn't as poppy. So yeah, it's funny how we grow and we change our sound without even realizing, I guess.
Hmm.
Mm.
Now, there's also a video for Someday Somewhere, and it looks like you were having a lot of fun making it. Where was it filmed?
So that was literally, so some of it was filmed in my backyard.
All right.
Obviously the me stealing the lawnmower scene and a couple of other scenes of me playing the guitar. But yeah, just down the road from my place, that's my dad's lawnmower, and he was like, "Sav, don't go too far. I don't want anything to happen. Make sure you bring it back." So it was literally just down the road from my house.
Because yeah, it looked like it was out somewhere. There's some lovely scenes of
Mm, yeah,
roadside things. Yes, people can go and look
yeah.
at it. I'm trying not to give away too much. So the ride-on lawnmower, had you ridden it before?
I hadn't.
Okay.
No, I literally wrote it the day before, and it's funny. I was going to put the video up. My sister took a video of me hopping on it the first time, and you could hear in the video like her cracking up, and my dad's just there shaking his head, going, "Oh no, what have we got ourselves into?"
Is it
But
your
yeah,
dad in the video?
yes, that's my dad in the video. Yeah, so it was funny. There was lots of laughs had all round. My mum wasn't in the video, but she was there, so she was watching too. So yeah, you can imagine my mum cracking up laughing as well.
And presumably it came back in one piece.
Yeah,
The
it
wrong
did. It came back in one piece. And yeah, no, it was good fun. It worked out so well. It was funny. I watched a movie. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's a beautiful American movie. I think it's called The Straight Story or The Small Story, and that's what inspired it. I would just, it was such a beautiful, simple movie, and the visuals were amazing. It was about this old guy who found out his brother was unwell, but he couldn't drive a car, and his brother was based like 3 states away. So he didn't have his license. So he said, damn, I'm going to hop on a lawnmower and drive for 3 months to get to his brother. And the scenes were just beautiful. So for some reason, after watching that movie, I was like, damn it, yes, I'm going to hop on a lawnmower and I'm going to make it happen.
And conveniently, your father had one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was so much fun. It was good fun.
Now, part of what makes it fun to look at is because a lot of the background is actually when you're out on the road, it's golden, shall we say, golden fields of
Yeah,
grass and
yeah.
other things. And then you are wearing a blue jacket and you have blue eyeshadow and blue jeans on. And so it really stands out in relief against that background. So I'm wondering when you put the blue together, like if there was a plan or if it actually that you had a piece of clothing you thought, well, that's what we'll use.
Well, it was funny. About 2 years prior to this music video, I found the jacket and the vest, and I just instantly, it was at Donnybrook Op Shop. I love op shopping. It's like one of my favorite things. Um, and I do that a lot. I'll find a piece, and it's like I just knew. I was like, I'm gonna use this for something. I had no idea what. I hadn't written the song yet. And then yeah, it just came around that obviously I was like, yes, I'm definitely, once I wrote the song, I'm definitely going to wear this jacket for this music video. This is going to be awesome. And then, hopping on my dad's lawnmower, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect color combination. Like, it's like my blue jacket. I felt like I was a part of the Beatles. That was so cool. And then my sister did my blue eyeshadow. Praise to my sister because I can't do makeup at all. And then the red lawnmower. It was like the perfect combination visually. It was sick.
Yeah. And I think if anyone wants to actually just have a few minutes of uplift, it's a great
Mm.
video to watch. With the combination of the song and the video really works.
Yeah, thank you. And I said to the videographer, Emma Smart, she's a wonderful videographer. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be trying hard. I just want to be having fun. And that's the most important thing. I didn't want to make it cheesy. I just wanted to be me embracing my inner child. And I definitely did. Like, I had fun filming it, and that was the number one thing. And
Yeah.
I feel like that joy is what makes the audiences react and smile and laugh, which is really cool. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, and that joy does come through very much. So, given that you write quite a bit, I'm guessing you're working on some new songs.
At the moment, I've been quite busy. I've got a lot of songs I feel like that are semi in the works, and I just feel like I haven't had the time to really sit down on and work on them, to be honest. Like, just with this tour at the moment, I feel like I've been focusing a lot on this single at the moment, but there's definitely, I want to put out an album. I want to really put out like a blues folky album that's really about storytelling, but I've kind of said to myself that, you know, good things take time and I need to be patient with it. I feel like I know that, artists have a lot of pressure, when we put out a song, they're like, people say you're on a good run, you need to put out another release and another. But yeah, I just like doing things my way, to be honest.
And also, when you're independent, putting out another song involves raising the funds for one thing, or making sure you have the funds, booking in the studio, perhaps the producer's not available, all those sorts of things. It's not as straightforward as just going, oh well, that worked. In 3 months' time, we'll put out another one.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, finance. Yeah, that's the number one thing, and just the time. Like we were talking about it before with my FIFO job and all that. It's important. Like, I can't rush these things. It's important to have, for me to be creative and to write these songs, I need to be sitting around bored.
Yeah.
That's the best way to write a song. I need to be imagining things and to be thinking of cool things and going, oh, that's a good idea. So, Yeah, definitely. I feel like once this tour is finished, which I'm really excited to do, but I think once things slow down a bit more, I'll keep creating.
I think sitting around bored is really underrated as a tool
Mm,
for prompting creativity. And especially these days when everyone's got their phones and there's so much information coming in and you can be not bored every single second of your life if you are looking at a phone because there's always something distracting. But it's that whole thing of nature abhorring a vacuum. If you allow the boredom, then nature goes,
mm,
oh, it's a vacuum. I'm going to put something in there.
very true, very true. Like I have to say, like I'm really blessed. Phones are a huge problem these days. We all have that distraction, and I think what one of my biggest blessings was my parents didn't get me a phone till I was 17, and that gave me the ability to write songs. Simple as that. I didn't have any distractions, and I was bored, and I started playing the guitar, and I got good at it. So yeah, very very lucky for that. Yeah, it's a reminder for me, like that we're having this conversation, for me to put my phone down more. It's hard when you put out a single and you have to have all this content and all that, but I'm in such a beautiful location now, and it's like I wish you could see what it looked like, but very blessed to be in nature and to be, yeah, so lucky to be where I am right now. It's beautiful.
And I think one of the paradoxes of being a musician is often you are making when you're making your own music and you're playing live is that you may not have time to listen to other people's music. But I'm wondering if you have been listening to any music, and if so, what is it?
I actually, at Nanup Music Festival, so prior to Nanup Music Festival, I listened to a few different artists to kind of get their vibe, and I was like whether I should go see them at the festival. And I came across this artist called Jeffrey Martin, um, an amazing singer-songwriter, very much kind of folk music, but the way his gift with words is just it's just incredible. So definitely, he kind of gives me very much a Zach Bryan kind of vibe, but I reckon better, like less words and more to the point. And he has that gift where you can kind of interpret what he's saying in so many different ways, and it's so deep. So I suggest everyone to check him out, Jeffrey Martin.
Okay. Well, that is a very good tip. And they can also check out your music while they're listening to
Thank
Jeffrey
you.
Martin. Put it on the same playlist, maybe. Well, Savannah, it's been lovely to talk to you, and I hope everyone goes and looks at that beautiful video and listens to the song. And I'm sure I'll talk to you again. Thanks for your
Yeah,
time.
thanks so much, Sunburnt Country. Yeah, it's been lovely chatting to you.